Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. It's now 2:30, so we are going to get started. Just before I pass it off to today's guest speakers, I would like to remind everybody that today's session is being recorded for educational purposes, and I have muted all lines to minimize background noise and distraction. So with that being said, I would like to introduce to you Barbara. Barbara is the Director of Community Partnerships, Programs, and Volunteer Services at the Rekai Centres. And co-presenting with Barbara today is Dwayne, and Dwayne is the Executive Director of the Wellesley Central Place. And together, they are going to be sharing with each of us the Rekai Centres' continued journeys to an inclusive culture. So at this point, I'm going to unmute your line, Barbara, and please take it away. There you are, Barbara. Barbara, can you hear us? Sorry, everyone. It looks like we're experiencing some technical difficulties. If you could just give us one moment, we'll get this sorted out. Thank you for your patience, everyone. We are going to have our guest speakers call in, so it'll be a few more moments.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Can you hear us? Perfect. Okay, so Barb, see if you can go ahead.
you hear me now, everybody?
Yep, you just, Josie Lee, can you mute Barbara's line? Yeah, okay. Okay, Barbara, let's give that another try. Yep, for some reason, Barbara, you're on and you're not on, so.
How's this?
That's much better.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you. So Josie Lee is just going to bring up the slides. Okay. There you go, Barbara.
Okay, so I apologize to everybody. We did have some technical difficulties here, but we're up and running. So welcome to the session on LGBTQ2S plus moving towards an inclusive culture in long-term care. I am Barbara, and I have Dwayne Wyris, the Executive Director here at Wellesley Central Place of the Rekai Centres, and we'll be talking about the journey that we have here. I'm Barbara Michalik. I'm the Director of Community and Academic Partnerships. My pronouns are she and her. With the Rekai Centres, I've been with the Rekai Centres since 2008. Background, in SSW, gerontology. I went to York University and various other things, certificates that I compiled. I continue to support the Residence Council at both locations and also their Executive Council. So we're talking about Wellesley Central Place and Sherbourne Place. Wellesley has 150 residents, and Sherbourne has 126. So today's agenda, we'll do a little overview on the Rekai Centres. We'll talk about the need for an inclusive environment in long-term care. We'll go through our developed strategic plan from 2018 up until 2022. Hopefully that will support you and your council on developing a strategic plan within your own home. We'll talk about some components, which are the development of a GSA, which is called the Gender and Sexuality Alliance. We'll talk about education, identification, policies and admission process, other areas we'll discuss, and what we do actually here. So we'll have a few pictures on what we do here. How to connect with your council, and at the end we'll have a conclusion with a question and answer period.
So a little bit about the Rekai Centres history. In 1950, two Hungarian brothers, Paul and John Rekai, immigrated to Toronto, Canada. The Rekai Hospital grew to a 32-bed facility named the Central Hospital in 1957. In 1970, the Central Hospital expanded to 170 beds and is currently the home now of Sherbourne Health Centre. In 1998, the Central Hospital Foundation expanded their services to long-term care, making the Rekai Centres the first multicultural non-profit nursing home in Canada. The Rekai Centres at Sherbourne Place is a 26-bed long-term care home. In 2005, on the site of the former Wellesley Hospital, where we sit today, the vision expanded to the Rekai Centres at Wellesley Central Place, which is a 150 long-term care home. That's where me and Barbara are speaking to you from today. The Rekai strongly believes that medical care is neither effective nor humane when language and culture is separated. Today, 2018, the Rekai Centre is dedicated to inclusiveness of the LGBTQ2S plus community members.
So of course my phone is ringing.
That's okay.
So we'll go into the need for inclusiveness in long-term care. Our location for both of our homes, specifically for Wellesley Central Place, our location is directly adjacent to the village. which is the gay village, known as the gay village. Growing number of LGBTQ2S plus elders. As Canada's seniors population increases, LGBTQ2S plus seniors increase as well. There is no firm statistics or comprehensive studies, but an estimated number of 10% of the population is part of the community. By 2024, almost a quarter of the population will be 65 and older. So that means the LGBTQ2S plus will also increase. Another area is more acceptance. After years of discrimination, harassment, and devaluation, some societies have become more welcoming and have become more educated. Example, our Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, gay marriage, and mainstream TV shows, movies are just a few. And I don't want to use Brokeback Mountain, but that's one of them. Another need for inclusiveness is the fear of going back into the closet. We hear a lot about many seniors who were subjected to abuses earlier in their life, fear that when they come into long-term care, that their care will be the same. Most importantly, here at the Rekai Centres, residents have been advocating for more programs, involvement in the LGBTQ2 community. So those are just some of the needs that we have recognized here at the Rekai Centres. So the first area of our strategic plan is the GSA, which is called the Gender and Sexuality Alliance. We developed our first GSA in February at both locations. The need was sparked by members of council and the need or the subcommittee for an LGBTQ2S concerns, education, and programs. So many of the members at council had their idea by themselves, and of course, our staff, frontline staff, senior management, and board also agreed with this concept. Executive council and other residents utilized placement students to assist in preparing memos, invites, promotion for the new committee that started in January, but actually had the committee in February of this year. They established terms of reference with residents' council input, a document with a mission statement, values and objectives for the GSA members. Residents and members of residents' council from both locations are representatives of the GSA and should always be included if you're developing a GSA. Successful completion, April and May, of GSA meetings. Now our meetings are scheduled bi-monthly, and it is no longer identified as a subcommittee at Residents' Council, but it can, if you have smaller homes, where there's an opportunity to, some homes may have a sub food committee or another type of committee, but this can also be a subcommittee at Residents' Council. Community partners and council representation. So currently Rekai has partnered with Fudger House and will be investigating other homes in the area who are interested in having a joint GSA. So any of you out there who are interested in forming a GSA or a partnership with the Rekai Centres, please let Jennifer know, and we can make those arrangements on an annual basis. So the second component was education. So a lot of seniors who are part of the community requested education for those who are not part of the LGBTQ2 community. And the same, many of the allies, and an ally is someone who supports an LGBTQ2 member. So this allies wanted to know how to help. So not only staff, but residents. So the residents partake in numerous education. So Casey House, when we did HIV and LGBTQ2 care. 519, we did internal education, and Residents' Council participated in external education sessions. So I recommend 519 has a number of education series via web or in person, in-house at 519 Community Center, and they're willing to come to any location as long as you request for that. Also, Toronto Public Health, we did inclusiveness and allyship, initiated by Residents' Council, as I mentioned before, and was attended by staff and residents in 2000 of this year. Rainbow Health and EGAL are upcoming education in August, and this will be mandatory for all staff as per request of residents, GSA, and council members. All future education are open to residents and family members, and they're all encouraged to participate.
So for identification, members of the Executive Council identify in the community voice the need for their visibility, hence triggering positive space stickers at the front entrance of both homes. So when we say the positive space entrance, at both of our homes have a welcoming statement for inclusiveness for the LGBTQ+ community, and we have a sticker on the door too as well with the rainbow flag. The call for visibility resulted in a display case that featured the GSA meeting dates, education, programs and events, and most importantly, the champions within the home. And areas in the home are equipped with positive space material, and champions have been recognized. And these champions include residents, management, and frontline staff. So next is policies and admission process. The Rekai Centres will be amending our policies to reflect more inclusivity and diversity within the home. We'll be developing a more enhanced code of conduct for staff, volunteers, and students to include specific information and dialogue about LGBTQ+ inclusivity. And the internal admission process to become more inclusive, reiterating a zero tolerance policy and anti-discrimination. Potential residents and loved ones will feel more accepted on admission. And also ensuring the Residents' Council is involved in the draft policies and code of conduct. For events and programs, giving Residents' Council members and the LGBTQ+2 Residents Resources to community events, programs, speakers, and education sessions through council meetings from the 519 through Five House and the Fudger LTC, and allowing Residents' Council members to develop internal programs for the monthly calendar and having them featured in the monthly newsletters. And some examples of this are the book readings, the movies, entertainment, and pride events. Just to give a highlight of one we had this summer, we had our first drag show that was a professional drag queen that came into the facility, and it was greatly enjoyed by all of our residents and our families. It was quite the show, actually. So I think that's probably a first for long-term care. And supporting Residents' Council representatives in their outreach initiatives.
So some of the other areas where we're focusing on, of course, we want to deepen our community relations with members and organizations, and this includes other LTCs and other residents who want to be part of a GSA, who are living in long-term care where there may not be a GSA. Our community focus for future residents and loved ones for the Rekai Centre, that's one of our focuses in our strategic plan. We've also had 3 sessions, focus groups with community members. So we actually finished our consultation groups, and we had 36 attend from the community, which is not a big number, but pretty big for a community who feels isolated, discriminated. So we were very successful, and we will be planning more events around that because we are underway and consulting various members, community members, so this means people and organizations, for the possibility of opening up an LGBTQ2S unit, which is a 25-bed unit over at Wellesley Central Place. We've applied for a grant, and it's been submitted, and we're just waiting until January, February of next year to see if we're able to get the grant approved. But which was really interesting, we had presidents of both councils write very strong supporting letters for this initiative. So it was a great move on Residents' Council. So this is what we do here and you see a few pictures here. We talked about, we have a statement and a frame on a door outside of our front door, which says Rekai Centre welcomes you, or welcomes everyone. If you see the sticker with the door handle, that is a sticker with a rainbow flag that identifies a resident who is a champion. And we have to be very careful about identifying champions. I would gather some information through 519 and EGAL, also Rainbow Health, to find out some criteria for training. Not everybody can be a champion. You may want to be, but not everybody can be. So that's just one identification tool. You see our drag queen show with the 2 dancers. You also see a board that identifies an LGBTQ2 positive space. This is near the elevator at the front door. You'll see a few people standing in front of the Rekai Centres 345 Sherbourne. There's Dwayne, Sue, our CEO, Colette, the Executive Director, and a few residents who lifted the flag on June 1st at the Sherbourne Place location. And all of us walked with the flag, the Wellesley flag, raised the flag at Wellesley and had a huge barbecue. And you can see that picture below about the flag being raised. And this was all resident engagement, and this was all council's efforts. So there's a few council members there that you can see. Also utilize various resources like the Sunshine Center, and where various events happen as well. So how to connect with your council on inclusivity? Educate them. So via webinar, and today's a perfect example of how you can educate your council, also utilizing the various groups that I identified, in-house training material, policies, and our outings. Identify one or two champions that can support the LGBTQ2+ within the home. So having residents support other residents are very important. And if they're a part of council, that gives them an extra little support. Encourage GSA membership or a subcommittee in council, and let them speak. We all have this tendency to want to improve resident well-being, but sometimes the best way to find out items of support is to actually ask the residents themselves. So this is conclusion of the PowerPoint. I hope I didn't go too fast. But I understand that we did have some technical difficulties, so we had to do a few things to adjust the time here. So I want to special thanks to the Rekai Centres, Sherbourne Place and Wellesley Central Place, GSA members, council members, and the seniors in the community who also partake in our GSA. Some of the references is the CBC News article on discrimination. There is long-term care homes and services. The toolkit 2017 is very difficult to find online, but I think Jennifer has added it to the slide or the PowerPoint.
Yes.
There's some other things there that you have, and we've also been featured in the Globe and Mail yesterday morning about our inclusive journey. So just want to thank everybody. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much, Barbara and Dwayne, for that presentation. I would invite everybody on the line to now either write in their questions via chat box, which is found at the bottom of your toolbar, or to unmute your lines to ask the question directly. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to gather their thoughts and come forward with some questions. And just in the meantime, Barbara, if I could just ask you, how has your home and your community dealt with perhaps residents or staff members, team members who have had a personal conflict of not supporting?
Jennifer, are you there?
Oh, hi, Barbara. Yes, actually, Josie Lee is actually just asking you a question. Again, we're having a bit of technical difficulty, so let me just see if I can adjust that. Josie Lee?
Okay, see the question. So the question is, can you elaborate on, for a moment, on the champion criteria? So currently we are developing, and again, it's a journey. We are not experts. We're just showing you ways of being innovative and creating your own inclusive environment. But again, Rainbow Health, EGAL have set criteria, and it's up to the home to set the criteria. For us here is dedicated education and mandatory education. So we are coming through this. Currently, we only have 4 people at Wellesley Central Place who are identified as champions. That's myself, Dwayne, Mimi, who is the Residence Council President at Wellesley, and another staff member, PSW, up on the floor.
Okay, Josie Lee just has a question for you, Barbara.
I see Kim. Okay, let me go to the top here. Okay, I see that here. Sue Casson, can you please tell us where you can receive the stickers? Oh, so for the front entrance. So the stickers are, you can get them online on Amazon, but if you're in the GTA, there's a few stores on Church and Wellesley that supply the stickers. Out on the street is where we get our stickers, and that's right directly on Church. So the other question is from Kim. Can you provide more details regarding the Gender Sexuality Alliance and their purpose? So the purpose of the Gender Sexuality Alliance is really a commitment to provide leadership to those members of the community who are not able to attend, or not self-identify, or may have had their cognitive impairment may have increased, but to support their lifestyle as they were while they entered the building or even before. So we also, I'll read the mission statement if that helps. To foster an inclusive culture that is welcoming and productive environment in supporting the Rekai Centres to provide quality care and services for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, and two-spirited residents, family, friends, staff, volunteers, visitors, and allies. So the group comes together to encourage education, support systems, and talk about current events and programs that could be held internally or externally. I hope that answered the question. A lot of GSAs are held in high schools as well, so you can do some research on the development of that. There's another 2 homes that I know that have GSAs, which is True Davidson Acres and also Kipling Acres. Ours at Wellesley Central Place is not mandated. We did it on our own, but we also encourage a lot of family and residents instead of senior management. The next question is, can you describe the interactions between residents who have conflicting values around the issue and how the home has supported the resolution of these challenges? Well, we haven't had major challenges at our Wellesley Central Place location because it starts off with identification. And when you're identifying a home as a positive space, the people who may have, help me out here, Dwayne, some of the people who may have preconceived notions will not want to come to an inclusive environment.
That's why it's really important. We're in the process too of updating our website so that it is visually impacted on the events that were taking place here, so that people know prior to them even applying or coming to Wellesley Central Place that we are an inclusive environment, and the LGBTQ community is a community that we do serve. We are also very fortunate where our location, we are literally a block from Church and Wellesley, which is the heart of the LGBT community. So we are very fortunate where we have not encountered any negative feedback or negative comments to date through the journey that we've had. Not to say that that won't happen, but it could, but we haven't yet. If that were to happen, again, we would have a meeting with the resident or the family member and discuss the initiatives that are taking place and the need and why we're going that route. We're also very fortunate where, again, we are not-for-profit and we're governed by a board of directors. And we have the full support of our board and CEO for the initiatives that we are taking to make our home more inclusive. And again, to be possibly the first long-term care home in Canada to have a dedicated 25-bed unit within our home. The reason it's 25 beds is we have 150 beds. Each unit is 25. So we wanted to start small and to try and do a 25-bed unit. And again, we had the focus groups to ask the community if that's what they wanted. They all resoundingly said, yes, we do want that. We want a space that we feel safe and welcomed and a positive space. And again, that's why we're moving next to the more greater survey. After the survey is completed, we'll then approach the LIN and get their approval for next steps moving forward. So, but we are very fortunate where we are located. We haven't had any negative repercussions or negative comments on the journey we've had so far, but I could definitely understand why in other areas of Ontario they could have that, they could encounter that problem. But I think it's about education and educating the families, educating the residents, and having the residents council be the allies and the champions to help move the initiative forward, and to again to acknowledge and to show that the home is inclusive and welcoming to everyone.
The next question is by Kate. Can you share a bit more about how you got education going and shared among residents, learning staff, families, etc.? So we're still going through this education. Please contact those various areas 519. They do charge for various education, but they start off very basic with terminology, and you can start off with really small sessions. We've also included through Rainbow Health a video, and I'm not sure if a lot of homes have Surge Learning, which is online learning modules, and we've put a mandatory online inclusivity module, so all the staff are required to watch this video and do a test at the end. So we do have sessions, and 519, there is a cost, but Rainbow Health, communicate with them. They do have sessions free of charge. I hope I answered your question.
Hi there, Barbara. We had, I'm just seeing an additional question here that's come in. Looking for
Congratulations. I mean, it's not an easy job, and you can't do it alone. I know if I didn't have Dwayne with me, supporting me through this journey, as well as Residents Council President, I know this would be a harder mountain to climb for sure.
Barbara, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, hi, Barbara. Josie Lee just had a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Barbara. I was just looking at the online chat box, and it looks like Sue had a quick question around how you would suggest approaching residents who have existing preconceived beliefs, and just mentioning that residents feel very strongly about their beliefs, and it may be difficult to change their perspective. Do you have any suggestions or approaches around that?
Next question I was going to read out. So yes, we at Sherbourne Place, we did have some preconceived notions, and there was a resident versus a transgendered resident. There were altercations between the two, but we did have the community police come in and speak to the aggressor, and that's pretty much all we can do right now. You can't punish a resident for having a preconceived notion, especially when you have cognitive impairment and dementia kick in. It becomes very, very difficult. So, I mean, you have to live with what you have now. Dwayne said, having the identification piece on your website at the front door, doing particular events. I think this is the way where these people with preconceived notions will, or their family members won't want their mom, dad, grandparent coming into that specific long-term care home. I hope I answered your question.
You also can't necessarily change someone's beliefs, and everybody is entitled to their beliefs. However, you have to go about the route in the education about everybody being treated equally, regardless of their beliefs. I think if you approach it that way, that's the most important. And if you have a chance, if you happen to have a resident or a family member from the community that could come in and speak to the Residents Council and talk about their experience in long-term care or their journey in life, and help to educate people and why we have a need for respect for everybody, that would be the best way to go about that.
I wanted to add, we do have someone on site at both locations, and she is a spiritual care provider. She's non-denominational, and that could also be a support for family or a resident who may have a preconceived notion. So the question is about having residence council in your home consist of younger people without significant cognitive changes. Can you speak on the demographics of residence council and how has it helped to move the initiative forward? So we're very lucky at Wellesley. We have, and over at Sherbourne, we have anywhere from 32, 34-year-old up until 109 or 10 or something or the other. So we're very lucky to have a very different council at both locations. I'm not sure how other demographics are, but we're very lucky to have different age groups at both of our councils. I hope I answered your question. If not, please forward another.
Did anyone else in the line have any further questions? Actually, yes, the family council. So, our family council is currently on summer break. They take a break from June, July, and August at this site. And we're actually, Barbara's being invited to our October meeting to come and talk about the initiatives and the journey so far to date that has taken place, just so that the family advisory council members are aware of what is taking place. They would be aware because our family advisory is very involved. They're in the home quite often. We haven't had any specific questions from those members yet, but we do want to include the family council, make them aware of our initiatives. That is taking place at our October meeting. It's already on the agenda for Barb to come to speak to our family advisory council and just give an update of our initiatives to date and where our journey's taking us.
Actually, we do have a few family members who are a part of the GSA, so hopefully this will help, increase awareness through other family members in the building.
Yeah, there's actually one family member that's on the GSA that has also attended the Family Advisory Council, which does help actually. We do anticipate a lot of questions coming up. Does anyone else have any questions? Please don't hesitate. Again, we're not the experts in this field. We're just sharing our journey that we've gone so far here. And we do recognize we're in a unique opportunity and situation geographically where there's close proximity to the LGBT community. So our journey would definitely be much easier than someone who's in rural Ontario, that's for sure. So you have to start somewhere.
Hi, everyone. It's Josie Lee here. So if there are no further questions at this point in time, I would like to thank everybody on their line for their patience today with all of the technical difficulties. And a big thank you to Barbara and to Dwayne for sharing your journey with us. I think it's been extremely helpful and informative to each of us here on the line today. So thank you so much, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thanks, Jennifer.
You're welcome.